My name is Sarah, and I'm a registered clinical counselor in BC and the manager of mental wellness programs at the YMCA of Greater Vancouver. Thank you for joining me in this 8th and final video of the YWellness series. If you have made it through all 7 previous videos, congratulations. If you haven't seen the previous videos, I encourage you to go back and start this journey from the beginning. YWellness is a series of 8 short videos that focus on providing education and information from acceptance and commitment therapy, also known as ACT. In this final video of the series, I will be reviewing and bringing together the content from the 7 previous videos in which I discussed how various ACT concepts and strategies can help us when it comes to coping with distress. Things like stress, worry, anxiousness, sadness, frustration, and a whole bunch of other uncomfortable experiences we have as humans. The main goals of the ACT framework are twofold. First, to accept what's outside of our personal control. Second, to commit to action that improves our quality of life. So let's unpack those two a little bit more. When it comes to accepting what's outside of your personal control, this doesn't mean giving up or giving in or liking those things. It means actively acknowledging our internal experiences without resistance or denial. When it comes to taking actions to improve our quality of life, this means doing what we can with the control that we have in our lives, knowing that there are many things that are outside of our personal control. What I really like about this perspective is that we don't have to wait or put our lives on hold before we start enacting helpful strategies and live fulfilling, meaningful lives. When we can accept what's outside of our control, now again, not meaning that we like that or we want it, but that we can actively acknowledge our internal experiences, not that we need to accept all the things that happen to us outwardly in life, but more accepting our internal experiences and engage in committed action in alignment with our values, we can both increase our capacity to cope with distress while living fulfilling lives. So let's recap the ACT concepts that have been covered in the previous videos in this YWellness series. Following the first introductory video, I reviewed the concept of connecting with the present moment, which is the ongoing non-judgmental awareness of our internal and external environments. The goal of connecting with the present moment is to experience our world more directly, not filtered through past memories or future predictions, but rather to observe our current experience as is, without getting caught up or consumed by thoughts and emotions, so that we can be more flexible and wise in our reactions instead of reactive. In the third video in this series, I went over one of ACT's core concepts, acceptance, which encourages us to acknowledge our thoughts, emotions, physical sensations, and anything internally, again, not necessarily externally, without avoidance or resistance, even when those things are uncomfortable, like sadness or stressful thoughts. Acceptance allows us to cope with what's coming up for us without adding extra resistance, like having feelings about our feelings and then thoughts about those feelings, but rather to work with what's initially presenting. Following that video, I talked about diffusion, which is about creating a different relationship with our thoughts. It's about unhooking or diffusing from our thoughts when they're not helpful to us. And we don't need to get caught in the battles of, is that thought good or bad or right or wrong? We can simply ask ourselves, is that thought or are those thoughts helpful? And if the answer is no, then we can unhook or diffuse from them. Following the video on diffusion, I reviewed the observing self, which is about being able to gain some perspective, a sort of zoomed out observer quality or ability, so that we can notice our experience. The observing self is implicit in connecting with the present moment, acceptance, and diffusion. In video 6, I switched gears a little bit and started talking about the behavioral component of ACT. I did so by reviewing the video on values. Values are the things that are really important to us and that guide our behaviors and actions. If you recall, I encouraged you to identify your top 4 to 6 values. And because that we need to know what our values are in order to use them as a strategy. The values video led into the most recent video on committed action, which is the notion that we commit to effective action and behaviors that are in alignment with our values. That brings us to where we are today in this 8th and final video, bringing it all together. Now, you certainly don't have to go through the ACT core concepts in the order that I have gone through them in this video series. Actually, the goal is to go between the ACT core concepts in a flexible and workable way. So for example, if you're struggling with connecting with the present moment or acceptance, you can focus on taking value-guided action. Alternatively, if you're having difficulty following through with value-guided action, you can use strategies from connecting with the present moment, acceptance, diffusion, and the observing self to help support you. There are so many ways to use the ACT framework. I hope that you found this introductory video series to be helpful. Please feel free to go online to find more information. Thank you so much for joining me in this YWellness video series. My name is Sarah. Please be sure to check out the other videos and all the other series on the YMCA home platform. Thanks again.